COVID-19 has hit my community harder.
In different ways, okay? Because COVID has hit the African American community hard in regards to us as patients. We are getting it the most. We are dying from it the most. I think it's hit us in that way, but it's hit Asian Americans in the way that you all are experiencing a lot of overt racism that I think a lot of you may not have experienced before.
So I've been personally attacked.
Pause. Boom. So why, as a Black person, do you have to tell Asian people what they have experienced? Why do you, as a Black person, for you to say what has happened to your community, why do you feel obligated having to talk about what has happened in somebody else's community? And do other groups feel that same obligation? Because I had to get on my fucking congresswoman because she don't really talk about Blacks. And she got 14% of us in her fucking district. Like, we still here. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think part of that is empathy. I think some of us see that as empathy. I understand your plight as opposed to listening to their plight. I think that's a lot of times that's how we view it, as in, I feel your pain and I know this about you. Let's discuss it and hug it out, which is fucking killing us. But I think that's how I think. Taylor, the Black lady who spoke first, that's what she meant. Anybody else?
Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? They knew we were being impacted the most, and nothing was done to change the society to try to fix that.
Yeah, everybody just tried to get on it and get what they could out of it.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the difference. This is, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm just seeing it different than everybody else, but like, name calling and maybe a scuffle every now and again, I can deal with that. But when the whole society is just allowing my community to fail, that's a different type of racism. That's the racism I'm trying to stop.
Exactly. And I understand she said, more overt racism than what you are used to. Asian community, I do not agree with people abusing people in your community. The elderly, the people who have attacked elderly people, I hope that they burn in hell. And
like yesterday,
that's it.
Yeah.
Like, period. Like, that's it. I hope that they burn in hell. I really do. And I hope when they're elderly, I hope somebody knocks them the fuck out so they get their karma for what they did to an elderly person. Because contrary to how not a lot, but some Asian Americans have tried to play it like Black people condone that shit. In the Black community, we don't condone putting our hands on elders.
Exactly.
That's not part of our culture. Like, don't put your hands on Big Mama and there be some uncles. You get that work. People will hop in a car and drive to fuck you up for putting your hands on a Big Mama or a Popo.
Boss, I need a day off.
Am I lying?
Yep.
That is not Black Americans don't.
Not at all.
Even when I saw that shit, I was like, the fuck? That's not acceptable. So don't even try to put it off on us like we even accept no kind of shit like that. So yeah, that's not our thing. So a lot of the racism stuff that's coming, like, first of all, we don't condone it. Like I said, we don't condone hitting old people. To be honest, I don't condone hitting anybody on the day-to-day. Like, everybody should keep their hands to themselves. But one of these cases, one dude did call the dude a nigger, and then when he choked him up and started beating that ass, it was a hate crime and anti-Asian. So if you're gonna run your mouth and get some checks and get that ass whooping, like, that's different, because white people have gotten beaten breaks off of for calling Black people niggers too. So if you get out here dropping that N-bomb, that's different. Don't cry Black people then, because you started that shit. Because words can be violent too. All right. Anything else? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going with the words can be violent too, but you can disrespect a motherfucker enough to catch an ass whooping.
Well, your word, if you call me a, you might, your words may be so violent in my spirit that I feel hurt enough to beat your ass. Now, do I feel like they're violence that they should be persecuted and like actually brought up and stuff like that? No, not that kind of violence. But if you hurt my feelings bad enough that I get in my feelings enough to overreact and beat your ass, yeah, violence begets violence. Because if you wouldn't have said that shit to me, I wouldn't have got in my feelings, hurt, got upset, got hurt, and flipped the fuck out and choked the shit out of you.
Verbally attacked by people for being Asian. You know, did the protocol, I stood 6 feet apart, but they asked me to move further away because they treated me like I was just a full-on virus. I've seen my grandma get yelled at. That, I feel, is it's the Asians experiencing what Black people have experienced, although it's not the same thing. It's, oh, you're Asian, so you're a virus, you know? It's
So
Your
like the
grandma
time
got
I got
yelled at?
cussed out by two Chinese people at the Japanese market when I was just trying to get some sushi, and a nice Filipina lady had to come in and save me from them because like they literally kept following me when I would move to the back of the line to get away from them. So, and they literally kept following me around, verbally attacking me until a Filipina lady cussed them out and shamed them and told them how people like them are the reason why people don't like Asians.
What? Like, your grandma got yelled at, and that's racism? Like, I mean, I understand. Like, I get it, but like, come on, man. If they yelled at your grandma at the store, like, come on, man. Like, you know, my grandma lived through Jim Crow, man. She was a sharecropper, like, you know what I mean? Because did your grandma go through that, man? Like, what are you talking? Like, come on, man. This shit is crazy, man.
Yep, liable to be raped by the landowner at will.
And when you say by a landowner at will, there's that Vice video where the gentleman talked about how his family was kept on the plantation into the late 1950s and how his mama got raped in front of him as a child. So that's the 40s. That ain't no 100 years away. That ain't no 100 years ago.
It's just that, like, we need to come up with a new term because
racism is dead. Like the word racism is dead because people have appropriated it for microaggressions. Like these days, if I say, oh, your hair is wavy, that's a microaggression. That's racism. That's how small white people think it is now because everything has become racism.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that this shit just doesn't hold the same weight. It's not fair to compare.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah, it's just not fair to compare these experiences.
And can we all agree that y'all chose to immigrate to a racist country that had a history of exploiting, killing, and raping Black Americans who descend from slavery. They had a history of oppressing us in this country, and y'all came here for a chance at the bag. That's it. That's what so this was your choice. So you don't get to blame shit on Black people. You gotta fight your fights. I don't think it's okay that people call other people mean names. But again, I will exchange the wealth level of the Indian Asian American community, the Chinese American community, the Japanese American community. I will exchange your wealth at any moment and take the amount of racism that you endure at any time. We will happily exchange. You can take our negative wealth and and we'll take your money and we'll take your microaggressions.
I'm with it, sis. Shit. That sounds like a good deal to me.
You're just mad because you thought, so can we just be real? BIPOC, Black immigrants, people of color, y'all are getting America is a racist country wake-up call. Y'all thought y'all came here to get the bag and that y'all was just going to be able to jump over Black Americans and everything's going to be gravy because people only hate Black people, right? Nope.
It's hard because I actually help a lot of small businesses, and a lot of when I open their books and see what they can do, I literally have to give them objectively, you can't make it. You have to pivot, and they don't know how to do anything else, right? And I don't want to compare, but these are immigrants who literally don't know how to do anything else. So what are their opportunities next? So from that perspective, yeah, I think our community has been hit harder.
I think
First of
Oh,
all,
come on.
What the
didn't
fuck
over
did he
half
just
of
say?
Black businesses
Come
close
on.
during the pandemic?
Yes.
And second of all, we ain't got businesses like y'all got businesses. So what do we do on a regular basis when we don't have no businesses and don't know what else we gonna do? Like, you gonna go get a job like the rest of us do.
Exactly. What the
So
She better go get the job,
front
like
door.
Pop said.
Go ahead. What were we saying, John?
They better get the job, like Pops for Friday. job.
And once you get your ass up to date, go out and look for a job. The word today is job. J-O-B.
For real, like I was like, come on, man, like we already know, like, you know what I mean. A lot of our businesses got hit harder. Like, we got hit harder economically, health wise, and a lot of the jobs. Like, I remember when the COVID first hit, and they started shutting down a lot of shit. You know, we work these jobs where you can't work remotely. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their fucking jobs. Like, still ain't working right now. So it's like, come on, man. This is crazy, bro.
And shit, they about to get evicted. Like when all these little
June is
yeah.
the end of the moratorium. Yep, I got to get all my bills paid up. Yep, not because I own my house, but I got to pay up like my lights and shit. My lights and my power. I got to get them their money. All right, we got anything else for him, or shall we go to this brother? Because this brother go, whew.
I think I'm going to personally feel, just because of what I've seen happen this whole year surrounding what's happened, I'm going to feel like there's been more disadvantage. But I know people that have been equally disadvantaged in terms of, you know, you're
See, boom. There's the problem.
He did it.
I would say we've been more disadvantaged, but I would say other people have been equally disadvantaged. You did not, y'all, just talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Just talk about yourself.
Talk about what you know.
Yeah, stop talking about other people. Like, let other people speak for themselves.
You see what Asian do?
They are grown people. They're grown. Sorry, go ahead, John. They're a grown community. Go ahead, John.
No, you're absolutely right. You see how Asian dude did it? Asian dude was talking about the store, what they're gonna do because they can't work at the store now. He ain't say nothing like, and black people can't. He ain't say nothing.
But I understand that half of the black businesses closed. Nope, none of that.
Word.
Take a note from your so-called allies. If every time your allies talk about their issues, they don't include you in it, they're not your allies. And that's why I said we can't be allies. At this moment, there is no alliance with Black Americans. There is no formal alliance with Black Americans from any group, not a single one, because nobody's really proposed one. Like, you got to pull a gun on somebody to get them to put reparations on the platform, i.e. White People's Party. I still see y'all. Reparations still ain't on that shit. That's why I don't even pay attention, y'all. Y'all don't even exist to me no more.
But see, this is why I said he should have spoke about what he knows, because this is the opportunity to like compare notes. You know, the Asian guy thinks it's so bad because of how businesses have been affected in the Asian community. Well, talk about how businesses have been affected in your community. And then once you put those things next to each other, then you understand that we have not been equally impacted. It's been a total different level of impact.
I am always here for the Oppression Olympics. Definitely. I don't give a fuck. People like, let's not play the Oppression Olympics. That's because you bastards will lose. Nobody can beat Black Americans in the Oppression Olympics in the United States of America, dealing with the United States of America. So you can't come here talking to me about what happened in your country, because that country did that shit to you. This country did not. So that's it.
Talk about your American experiment.
Let me give Sam the gold medal. Give Sam the gold medal and the Black Power glove. Like, what
we gonna say, Mud? What'd you say, Mud?
I said,
missed it.
talk about your American experience.
That's
You know
it.
what I'm saying?
That's it. That's it. That's it. And that's all. That's all we need.
Yeah, and like John said, we're gold medalists on this land.
Gold. We got the gold. We're talking. Do the pose with the black power glove. We getting the gold. We've been through a lot. We've been through a lot, man. Shit, crazy. But
Yeah, we the winners. I'm sorry. I hate to tell you this, Native Americans. Not even y'all get to beat us in the oppression Olympics. Y'all can come at me, bro. I know. But this might have to be 2 parts because I need it to be an hour each because I don't want nobody to miss it when I say it. Yep. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say even Native Americans cannot. Hold on. MG's about to come back. You ready, MG? I just said you ready for it, MG? This is some shit people gonna come at us on Twitter. They gonna come at us on the comments. You ready?
It's on.
You ready? In the oppression Olympics, we are the winners. Not even Native Americans can compete with us in the oppression Olympics. And let me tell you why.
Sister Sharon.
Because Native Americans, not all, but the 5 tribes, they at least tried to pay them reparations or were paid reparations. And then there are still treaties, and you still have seen things being worked out since 1946, all the way going up till now with the shit that's being done in Oklahoma and everywhere else. Plus,
that's true.
Got casinos and some other shit. Are some reservations fucked up? Yes, but are there people at the top who have all the money who are oppressing and fucking you? Yes. You guys are your own nation. That is an in-house problem. I don't know enough about your situation. I'm not going to go no further than what I just said, but that sounds like y'all got a class problem in your house. We have a problem with this country who has continued to oppress us and give us nothing. Plus, y'all own slaves too, so y'all owe us some money too. We didn't own you.
Yeah. Can't really argue with that.
We didn't own you. And to go a step further, y'all have expelled us from your tribes to make sure that we didn't get what we were supposed to get from you.
Leave them Negroes outside.
So, yes.
And they were told specifically to keep us in the tribes. They were told to keep us in the tribes.
Yep.
They cut us anyway.
I 100% fuck with the oppression Olympics. We are gold medalists, as John said. You ain't pushing us off our platform. Y'all ain't been here long enough, and we gotta die out first, or our oppression has to end and yours really, truly begin. And in 400 years, you can talk to us about what you've been through. But until then, people of choice, what you are owed in this country is as an American immigrant. You are owed a standard of living as an American citizen. You just happen to be an immigrant. You are owed nothing for being a person of color. Because you chose to come here. So you're a person of choice. And don't say, well, things are so bad in my country. I didn't choose to come here. They were just bombing us and raping us. In Chicago cannot flee to Canada or Mexico because of the gang violence or anything the fuck else.
And we're not the only country taking people. That's bullshit. We're not the only country taking people. Europe is taking people. There are other countries that are quote unquote second world countries are not as bad off as those countries that are having problems.
They are
people
literally coming through how many countries to even get here in the first place?
They're leapfrogging other countries to come here, right? So don't give me. I hate to be that asshole, but don't give me that bullshit. You chose to come here because this is the land of opportunity. We, the descendants of chattel slavery, our people, our ancestors created that opportunity that you're coming to take advantage of. Fuck you.
Exactly. So when you get here, say thank you. For those of you who are still here, Black Americans who descend from chattel slavery deserve reparations. And y'all need to get with us on that fight. And we will fight with you as a collective for America for America to be better for Americans, all Americans. And again, you as an American immigrant, you are owed a certain standard of living as an American, but you are owed nothing for being an immigrant. Sorry, you didn't build this country. You didn't contribute in that way. And they'll say, oh, but the Chinese. That is a small, small microcosm of people. And if you want to go and track those people who descend from those specific Chinese people who helped finish the railroads, because the majority of the railroads was built, baby, by slaves. The westward expansion that went up into the westward expansion at the end, they came in at the end and did a lot of that work. So yes, they contributed. So if you want to go through and talk about those family members, but that's not people who got here 30, 40 years ago. You can't conflate them all into the same box. Quit playing me. That's a lineage thing. If you want to go deeper, their lineage is somewhat different. But I don't want to get into that because people really gonna get mad at me because again, contribution matters. So
listening to Reset Race, you now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. What? Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redlining lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one. Cousin mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire. Anti-black. We pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country. To win, you need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.
Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.